Yo, what is up, guys, and welcome back to another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. Now, as you guys are well aware, the 5-year anniversary is basically over, right? There's really nothing left to do, except for maybe utilize that ×4, rank XP and the, halved boost feature, right? The 4 hours instead of the 8 hours. Other than that, I mean, unless you're grinding rank and incredible gems, there's really nothing going on. Or if for whatever reason you haven't completed everything, there's nothing going on. So what that allows us to do is kind of look forward. And what I think is going to happen, I did just drop a video. If you need to, go ahead and check it out. I dropped it yesterday. And it was the future of Global Dokkan from now until January. So what I think is going to happen is Kefla is going to drop, and it's going to be a very brief celebration, roughly for 2 weeks, before the absolute hype that will be the 350 million download celebration. Just affectionately known as the download celebration. It could at some point be called something else, just FYI. Because at a certain point it's going to be like the 500 million, the 550 million, the 1 billion download celebration. So at some point, maybe at that point, they will have caught up both games, and instead of having a download celebration, maybe they'll just celebrate the anniversaries on the respective versions. Instead of separate anniversaries and a download celebration, maybe the two hypest celebrations of the year will just simply be the anniversaries. I think that would be a really, really good idea. So hopefully, by the time, like the quote, the 1 billion download celebration comes around, maybe they will have done that. That I think would be a good move. But the question remains, what will the Dual Dokkan Fest LRs be? And I think that it's pretty, to me, I don't want to say it's obvious. Like, they obviously could go any number of ways. But I think that Boo Celebration does seem pretty likely to me. If we look back at last year, so the slot that the Tech Gohan, the Tech Ultimate Gohan is in currently on the JP side, that was being taken up by Dokkan Fest Piccolo right before the download celebration. And I think that, so he's obviously a part of the Android Cell saga, so I think obviously, or maybe it's not so obvious to some, but I think that it's pretty likely, is what I should say, that we're going to get Majin Buu Saga because of what Ultimate Gohan is, right? He's a Majin Buu Saga character, a pretty hype one, I would add. And obviously that does kind of eliminate him from contention of a unit that could be on the banner, right? A main featured unit. So what I think the new units are going to be, number one, I think they're going to be LRs. I think that there's no question that LRs are their big money makers. You can also do a thing where instead of having a 7 featured unit banner, you can make it a 10 featured unit banner and then make people want to summon more, aka spend more. So that's really what I think they're going to do. Now, don't despair, because there will be lots of free-to-play stones and stuff, so don't worry about that. Make sure you're saving right now. It's going to be very, very important moving forward. The download celebration, I can guarantee you, like, even if Kefla does drop, I can guarantee, like, without a shadow of a doubt almost, that the new LRs are going to be better than Kefla. I think it's pretty safe to say that the new LRs are going to be hype. So they are going to be Dokkan Fest LRs. Now, the two that really come to mind to me, I think to me it seems pretty likely. I think one is going to be Buhan, the guy you see on the screen. And I think Buhan would be a good Majin Buu Saga leader, because I think at that point, you could do something with the other Dual Dokkan Fest, maybe the same thing you did with the anniversary, where like both of them are final trump card leaders, right? So the Vegito and then the Gogeta. Maybe you could do something similar where both of these guys, this Buhan and then this other character, are going to be both Majin Buu Saga leaders. And I think that that would be the way to go. And then they can both, introduce a new unique category. So I think that this guy will be a Majin Buu Saga leader. He's going to be an LR Buhan. And I think he's going to be straight up an LR Buhan. I don't think he's going to transform. I don't think he's going to do anything like that. We already have a Super Buu. They could give us a new Super Buu. We obviously could use one. Transforming Super Buu, the STR one, is anything but impressive, right? 80% attack and defense, and nay, impossible transformation conditions are, doesn't really make for a great unit. So yes, they could give us another transforming Super Buu. I mean, you could do that where he absorbs Ultimate Gohan. That could be something, right? But what I think they're going to do is maybe focus on the fight versus Super Vegito, and that's like kind of spoilers ahead, but that's who I think is going to be the other unit on the other Dual Dokkan Fest banner, and that would also imply that it's going to be a Super and an Extreme class banner, which are going to increase your odds of pulling the unit, right? Because you're not going to have over 200 unfeatured SSRs. You're going to have, you know, roughly on the Super class banner, you're going to have a few more. And on the Extreme class banner, you're going to have better odds of pulling the unit you want, right? Just less SSRs in the pool. Makes sense to me, right? So that would be really, really cool. Buhan, I think you could give him an active skill where the one I would like to see is like maybe where he turns you into candy. And then the whole enemy side, maybe they get a debuff, maybe they get their attack and defense lowered, like maybe even like greatly lowered attack and defense, and then you greatly raise your attack and defense for one turn, or maybe you get just like an out of turn, you know, 50% buff, kind of like Beerus or something like that, where he gets an out of turn 50% buff to his attack and defense. I think that could be really, really cool. And for an LR to do something like that, dude, with his LR stats, he would be absolutely bonkers. Just bananas, batshit crazy, right? He would be cray-cray. And then obviously with the new link leveling system, the Majin power, or like the, you know, straight up the Majin Buu units are very, very strong. Their links in particular got huge buffs, So all of these Majin Buu characters are going to be really, really cool. So I would love to see just a straight up Buhan that turns you into candy for his active skill. I don't know, let's just say from the third turn from the start of battle, you know, 66% HP or less. That I think would be pretty reasonable considering what you're getting. Or you could give him some kind of ultimate attack as well. But I think having a Majin Buu is going to be pretty likely for the download celebration. Now, this next character is definitely deserving, definitely fitting of a Dokkan Fest LR, and I'm obviously talking about Super Vegito. So we are specifically talking about Super Vegito from the Majin Buu saga. I don't know if he makes any other appearances, because I think he goes from base form to blue, if I'm not mistaken, in the future Trunks arc. So this might be the only Super Vegito actually in the series. So obviously from the Buu saga, again, you know, harkening back to like, you know, this guy, he's going to be the other half of a Majin Buu saga leader. You know, you could even do something cool where you give like one of them, you give 170 attack and defense, and then 150 to HP, and then the other one you could do 170 attack and HP, and then 150 to defense. I mean, that would obviously be crazy, right? Those are very, very strong leader skills, but they're going to be very, very strong units. And Vegito, I think he is definitely a unit that needs more representation. I know that seems crazy. We literally just got a Vegito, right? But if we're talking about Super Vegito, and the same thing goes with Buhan as well, like they both haven't had a new unit in a very, very long time. So you've got the current Super Vegito, the one that is the Majin Buu saga leader, who's literally like, I don't want to call him the worst category leader in the game, but he's probably like bottom 5 category leaders in the game. His kit is very, very outdated. All he gets is 40% damage reduction, and he builds up his attack a little bit, and that's it. Like, he doesn't really do anything else. And I guess he does raise allies' attack on Super, but I think this guy is definitely fitting of having like an ultimate attack sort of active skill. So again, he'll have a Majin Buu saga category leader, and then he'll introduce another category into the game. That's honestly, that might be even a topic for another video, but what category could Vegito lead? I've been saying right along, I thought that that Gohan and Gotenks could lead like the arrogance category, or, you know, arrogant warrior or something like that. I think that he could easily lead that category, and that I think you could definitely make some interesting teams with that. And honestly, I think Buhan would be on that category for sure. Or, you know, a lot of the Majin Buus I think would be on that category. You'd have a lot of really, really strong units that are very, very arrogant in the game, right? So this Vegito, he could definitely lead like a couple categories like that. And then again, having that having that Vegito sword that he uses, I think it just seems like, you know, like it writes itself, right? Like if he had an active skill that had an ultimate attack, damage modifier, and, you know, he did just this crazy amount of damage, and then maybe he also does something like the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, where he gives an out-of-turn buff to all of his allies. Like, let's just, it doesn't even have to be a lot. I mean, you could say, you know, 25% or something like that. You could make it, you know, something reasonable. But he does this ultimate damage, and then he also provides support to the rest of his allies. I think that would be really, really cool. And again, I'm talking about just straight up, man, a base, or not a base, excuse me, just a normal Super Vegito. No transformations, no nothing like that. I know transformations sell, but dude, Vegito doesn't need to transform to sell. I mean, straight up, I mean, he does not need to transform. So I think something like that would be very, very cool, obviously. So if you've made it this far in the video, let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see. I think that it seems, again, not obvious, but it does seem like a very, very good choice to do Vegito and Buhan. It's a very, very iconic fight in the Majin Buu saga. You know, the only other ones that I could think of, I don't think it would sell quite as well, is you could do something like, you know, Angel, Super Saiyan Vegeta, and then Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus Kid Buu, but I don't know that that one's going to sell quite as well. I think this one, you need an update, right? Because, again, you've only got Super Vegito. The only Super Vegitos you have, I mean, realistically, I guess the 3-year LR you could count, but it's just the Fizz Majin Buu Saga leader, and then, of course, the AGL Super Vegito, who is still pretty good. And you could definitely have this guy have a counter mechanic as well. You need to update it a little bit. Maybe you give him a counter mechanic, but in his passive, he's got a 50% chance to crit or something like that, like something ridiculous. And then you slap on, you know, you give him full crit in the potential system. Maybe you slap on some crit equipment, and maybe he's doing crit counters, you know, every single time, essentially. Or maybe he's got like an 80% chance to crit on counters or something like that. Make him ridiculously busted, because he can be. And he should be. He is Super Vegito after all. So keep in mind that these are going to be 2 of more than likely 3 LRs. They could do another top legendary summon banner like they did last year, but they'll probably feature like an older LR, you know, that's kind of related to the saga or whatever. But I think the new unit for the legendary summon banner is easy. I think you make it an LR Kid Buu. And I feel like a lot of people have been clamoring for this for like a very, very long time. So if you think about the Kid Buus we have in the game, there are a lot of fodder-ass Kid Buus for sure. Like you've got like the AGL Easy A Kid Buu, who's honestly kind of laughable at this point. He's really not usable. In 99% of circumstances, you're going to be using Fizz Kid Buu. And Fizz Kid Buu is still a pretty good support unit. I'm not a big fan of his card. The way his passive is, the way he provides like this uber monster support when he's like 80% HP or above, I don't like it, right? I wish that they would do it differently. And he does have big bad bosses as well, so that is like obviously a good part about that card. I do like that he has big bad bosses. And then of course, again, I harken back to the Link level update. Big Bad Bosses does not have an HP restriction when you have him at Link level 10. So this Kid Buu, I think realistically, you know, you could make him whatever type you want. But in my opinion, Extreme Fizz probably needs it the most, followed up kind of closely by Extreme Tech. I think Extreme Tech has the more top-tier LRs in it, or just the more top-tier units, but it's still a very, very limited typing. So you could make him easily, like you could introduce the Majin power category on the global side of the game. I don't see a big deal with that. And then you could do like another 130 artificial life forms leader, or you could do it like last year's LR in the LR androids, where they were actually 150% leader to the androids category. I think that would be a good idea as well. Maybe you make him a 150% artificial life forms leader. I think that would be a really, really good idea. And then, of course, make him a 100% in Key 4 leader to his respective typing. I don't see a reason why you need to change it up. Unless they want to go all LR Jiren on us and make him a double category leader. I think very clearly Jiren was meant to be a Dokkan Fest LR with that double category buff, right? I also think they should bring back the mechanic of LR Rose. It makes LR Rose just hit so ridiculously hard, where he gets attack based on key meter. And honestly, you could take it a step further and give him defense upon tick on the key meter as well. I think that would be a really, really fun mechanic for him to make him hit incredibly hard and make him very, very strong defensively. I don't think he needs an active skill. I think probably, I mean, you could if you wanted to, of course. Like, active skills sell, of course, but I think you could easily just, like, make his 18 key super attack like the ginormous pink ball that he uses to destroy the Earth. I think that would be really, really cool. And then in terms of, like, his banner, you know, I mentioned it could be another top legendary summon banner. Maybe just, you know, for the other featured LR, maybe make it Majin Vegeta. I wouldn't be a big fan of that, but of course it is relevant, right? Because Majin Vegeta is in the Majin Buu saga, of course. Same thing with, you know, It Gohan, right? He was in the Android Cell saga, so it just kind of made sense to feature him on the Androids banner. Now, would your boy be annoyed if I got in a Wadida and I got a fusion and then I pulled Majin Vegeta? You bet your ass I would be annoyed. But again, it makes sense to me that that's what they would do, is feature Majin Vegeta on another top legendary summon banner. They don't have to explicitly. I mean, there are plenty of other, you know, Majin characters that you can kind of feature on the banner. But again, having this guy, maybe having him lead like Resurrected Warriors, for instance, I think that gives a resurgence to like LR Oob, who would share a lot of links with this Majin Buu, with this Kid Buu. I think that would be a really, really interesting pairing. Or at the very least, giving more options for that Resurrected Warriors team. You know, and again, if you make them Extreme Tech or if you make them Extreme Fizz, I think that's the way to go. I think, you know, Extreme STR I could see as well. Extreme AGL is already pretty stacked, but I think that this is going to be a very, very likely option for the next summonable legendary summon LR. So, but that is the video, guys. Just a little bit of speculation. You know, straight up, man, Dokkan is flipping dry as a desert. I mean, so much for the anniversary. We're honestly toward the tail end of the anniversary, but dude, the anniversary has been very, very slow. After part 1, it slowed down by like tenfold. Let me know in the comments below if you agree. Let me know how you're feeling about the anniversary, and let me know, of course, if you are hyped for this upcoming 350 million download celebration. Slap a like if you enjoyed this video. And of course, consider subscribing if you're new. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. It means so much, and I will catch all of you in the next one. Later.